And welcome back. Take a trip to picturesque Wyoming, but be careful. There may be a killer on the loose, or at least that's the case in a series of thrilling novels.
Yeah, we are here now with Maureen Anne Meehan. She is the author of the Mary MacIntosh thriller series. We're so excited to have you. And this is like, I was teasing you. I said, you've got a whole library here.
Yeah.
I do.
That is incredible. So this is a whole series for people who love thrillers.
Legal thrillers, all based in Wyoming. Jackson Hole is where I started dying to ski, but then I take it to my hometown of Sheridan, Wyoming, where most of the rest of the novels are based. And Mary MacIntosh starts off as a defense attorney in Jackson Hole, and she matriculates to Sheridan, where she becomes the district attorney, county counsel, and she prosecutes cases. And eventually she decides to join John Douglas, who is the FBI profiler that traced after the Zodiac killer, never caught.
Yeah.
But she partners with John Douglas with the FBI as a profiler, solving complex legal thrillers.
Wow. You went to law school, so it's really not a stretch for you to write a crime series, right?
No, I did go to law school. I practiced law for quite some time before I became a Superior Court judge in Orange County, California, where I still sit. So I still preside over a mental health courtroom, which kind of helps segue into writing novels, because a lot of times you deal with serial killers all have mental health issues.
Yeah.
So that's why I write a lot about serial killers, because it's fascinating. But also it's intriguing to the mind to think, what makes you tick?
Right.
And it's not only male, although 90% of serial killers are men, 8 to 10% are women. So one of my books, Rodeo, has a female serial killer.
So they are a little bit different. Each,
Very.
each story. Mary MacIntosh is based off of someone real in your own life.
My legal secretary was murdered in 1996, and it was foreseeable, preventable. Her estranged husband did it, and it was horrible, and it was life-changing for me. I missed her terribly, and after the funeral that I attended in Salt Lake, I started writing to keep her alive.
Wow.
So her name was not Mary MacIntosh, it was Lisa, but she was my protagonist that I've kept alive all these years.
Wow.
It makes me think about a statistic I heard recently. I think people would be shocked to find out how many people are killed by a partner.
Yeah.
How many homicides are by a partner.
For women, it's extremely high. And in fact, like if you ever watch Dateline or anything, you always say, the dude did it.
We know.
We know who did it. Exactly.
Right.
Well, and I feel like true crime or thrillers and mystery, all these things, they are in their heyday right now. Like it's become like a joke that the way women relax is by reading, crime novels and things like that. So are you finding a real attraction towards your stories?
I am, and I have a podcast called Only the Truth, and it's about true crime. I've started by following my novels because they're all based in true crime. Every case is based on something that's actually happened from day one.
Wow.
And Only the Truth airs on like Spotify and all those. But last week I think I had 30,000 hits. People love true crime.
Yes, it's very hot right now, I feel like. And what about, what do you hear from your readers? What's something somebody says to you after reading one of your books that's really meaningful to you?
They love the character development. They love how I bring Mac's personal life into it. She gets married, she has children, she's trying to balance that professional life with a personal life and a relationship that sometimes is on the rocks because she's gone, trying to solve these crimes. And so the biggest feedback I get is, I love the fact that we really know her. We feel like she's you. I'm like, well, there's always a part of the author in any novel.
Right.
So that's the feedback, just great character development.
I feel like with what you're doing and the fact that there's all these true stories, you're going to have 1 million of these in you. How are you going to keep up?
I can't stop.
I bet.
I'm writing my 21st novel now. And I was writing on the plane on my way here to see you yesterday, and the gentleman next to me is like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm in chapter 25 of my book. He's like, well, what's it called? And I said, Highway to Hell. He said, what's it about? I said, a long-haul truck driver serial killer. He's like, ooh, that's dark. I'm like, it's based in true crime.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I just did, my last one I did before this, Fox Hollow Farm, is based on a serial killer in Ohio. Ooh. And they never did solve the I-70 serial killings. And I think it was the same person because both in Ohio, both at the same time, same MO to it.
Okay, we're out of
Interesting.
time, but real quick, do each of these end with the answer, or are you ever left hanging?
All of them but one.
Okay.
Red Hands is my most popular. It's about the missing and murdered Indigenous women in North America, and it's a cliffhanger. But it segues into other novels that follow it. So we come back to it a lot. In fact, even the one Highway to Hell, we come back to it.
Maureen, these
love
are
it.
great. You are
Thank you.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Thank you
Thanks
for joining
being
us.
here.
My pleasure.
You
Yeah.
bet.
For
You
having
can
me.
find Maureen's books for sale through Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You can also visit her website, MaureenMeehanBooks.com, to pick up one of her titles.